How many times does South Carolina have to keep teaching everybody this lesson? How many times do the Beamer boys have to continue to prove this conference wrong year after year? Because last year, they went into the 2024 college football season with a projected win total of 5.5 wins. And they finished the season 9-4. A few years ago, back in 2022, the same thing happened. They were projected to not be that good, to finish in the bottom half of the conference, and they won 8 games. Well, this year, despite being proven wrong by South Carolina over the last 2-3 years, the same mistake is still being made with the prediction of how this team is going to fare in the SEC this year. Once again, South Carolina is being underestimated, and nobody has learned their lesson about underestimating the Beamer boys in the past, because ESPN's FPI projects South Carolina to finish 9th place in this conference this year, which is absolutely outrageous to me. Because South Carolina, despite how they don't recruit at the level that LSU, Texas, Alabama, and Georgia do, they do a really good job in their player evaluation of high school recruits and guys in the transfer portal. They have a really good player development program. And what they have entering this season that nobody else has in the SEC, that gives them a huge advantage over everybody else in this conference, that gives them a good chance of making it to the playoffs this year, is that they can say that they have 2 of the 5 best players in all of college football right now. You have 2 players that play 2 positions that have the greatest impact on the outcome of games, that being quarterback Lenor and pass rusher Dylan Stewart. Last season, Lenor was the hottest quarterback in the second half of the 2024 season. He had over 18 touchdowns and over 5 turnovers. It's the most miraculous in-season improvement that I've ever seen a quarterback have. Because for the first half of last season, Lenor was looking more like Anthony Richardson than he was Cam Newton. But all of a sudden, after that Alabama game, something just clicked for him. Something just snapped. Maybe it's because he made a change from wearing the goggles to going with contact lenses. Can't really put my finger on what it was that sparked the random improvement from Lenor. But go back and watch that Clemson game. By himself, he won that game for South Carolina. When Lenor is on, South Carolina is one of the toughest teams to beat in college football, because he has a similar impact to what Cam Newton has. This dude is a bowling ball at quarterback. Literally, you get him in the open field one-on-one with a defender, he's going to win 80-90% of the time. He had the most broken tackles in a single game than anybody else last season. That was more than what Ashton Jeanty had against Oregon when Lenor broke 18 tackles against Clemson. That's the kind of X factor. If you don't want the starting quarterback of your favorite team to play like Anthony Richardson, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, check us out, JT Sports, on all podcasting platforms. Give us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Let's get back to the video. That Lenor is, when he's on and he's playing his best football, there's not a single team that South Carolina can't get right with. And let's not even forget about the freak that Dylan Stewart is. At 18, 19 years old, fresh out of high school, this dude was commanding triple and quadruple teams, and he was opening everything up for the rest of the talented defensive linemen that South Carolina had. This is Jadeveon Clowney reincarnated in Dylan Stewart. He's going to be a potential top 5 pick in the NFL draft 2 years from now, along with Lenoris. Hell, if Lenoris comes out next year, he will be in the conversation to be the first overall pick. Even if Arch Manning declares along with him, he could be the first quarterback taken off of the board because of the potential, because of the athleticism, because of the game-changing ability that he possesses. You have 2 players on South Carolina and Dylan Stewart and Lenoris who by themselves have the ability to swing the outcome of games in South Carolina's favor. When you have 2 high-level players at 2 of the most impactful positions when it comes to wins, it's hard to overlook a team like South Carolina. South Carolina, you know why they always get slept on every season? Because people focus too much on judging this team by what they have on paper, and they don't give this squad enough benefit of a doubt because of their player development, because of how good they are at evaluating talent in the portal and guys out of high school. Because South Carolina is a team that oftentimes when you are judging and trying to predict how good a team is going to fare during the season, a lot of things that they do right and that they do incredibly well, you can't judge and look at on paper. You overlook how Shane Beamer is the best big game coach in college football when he's an underdog. And last year, South Carolina, during the regular season, finished 9-3 when they could have finished 11-1. They got screwed by the referees and their home loss against LSU. They came really close to pulling off a win against Alabama. Shane Beamer, there's not a better coach in the big game, being an underdog that gets you ready to play against the best competition on your schedule than what Shane Beamer does. When you play South Carolina in October or November, you risk having a strong possibility of your playoff hopes ending to the hands of the Gamecocks. October is a real thing, people. It is. Let's not forget what happened in 2022 when South Carolina ended Tennessee's playoff hopes and Hendon Hooker's Heisman candidacy. And then the following week later, they absolutely obliterated Clemson. Once again, South Carolina has to teach the SEC another lesson about why you should never overlook the Beamer boys. This is the most freakish team in the SEC this year in terms of just having a bunch of super athletic players. I told you about Lenoris and Dylan Stewart, but did I tell you about Nick Harbor? This monster at receiver who's like 6'5", 6'6", 240, 250 something pounds and has Olympic-like speed? This is the last team that anybody should be sleeping on. And if you didn't learn from underestimating South Carolina over the past 2-3 years, you're going to learn once again when South Carolina teaches you and the rest of the SEC why underestimating the Beamer boys is a huge mistake to make.